Disgaea 5 is a game I've been heavily looking forward to for a while now, and after finally getting my hands on it and playing the game for almost 100 hours, I feel as if I can give you guys a proper review, coming from someone who, actually played the game and finished it and did a lot of post-game challenges. Let's get this out the way right now. This is the 6th title of the Disgaea series, but they are by no means connected whatsoever. Sure, the games have a lot of cameo appearances, but they by no means impact the story. If you want to jump right into Disgaea 5 without playing the other games, go in not worrying about that. Now, I've played all the Disgaea games, and I've sunk at least 80 hours on each. So when I played the demo for Disgaea 5, I was a little bit worried that this game would be more the same, with just a new cast of characters, a new story, and some new features. And to be honest, that's kind of what it is, but is that a bad thing? I know most games I played, if this was the 6th entry to the series and stuff was mostly the same, I would probably crucify it. But is Disgaea different? Is Disgaea the one exception to that rule? That's what I aim to find out. Disgaea 5 places you in the shoes of Disgaea, a demon out looking for revenge against Void Dark, a demon emperor that commands the Lost Army. In Disgaea's quest for revenge, he encounters other demons who also want to take revenge on Void Dark. The cast is a lively bunch. I won't lie, at first I really didn't care much for them. Disgaea seemed like a cooled down version of Disgaea 2's Adele. Seraphina felt like a ripoff of Disgaea 1's Edna, but much hotter. Red Madness just seemed like a typical muscle-bound idiot, and he kinda is. Crystal seemed like an everyday intelligent glasses guy. Eusalia a token lowly for anime JRPG standards, and Zerokin the joke character. But that was at first. As the story progressed, I began to like these characters a lot more thanks to their charm and the comedy that goes on between the dialogue. I did kinda get attached to them. They don't break too much out of their archetypes, but there's enough development here to rub off on you. It's that Disgaea charm that I always like throughout each game. Thanks to an excellent localization, the dialogue flows nicely and each character's personality is put on display. An aspect about localizations I like is more often than not, the team takes some liberties in localizing the script. It's most notably put on display with Red Madness. Instead of just going with a strict translation, they decided to have dialogue with him reminiscent of The Rock. A pretty cool decision if you ask me, as it adds to the overall charm of the character. I love when localization teams take liberties like this.
Yeah, we have to super lay the crackdown on that weird jabroni from the Carnage. It doesn't matter where he's from!
Now the story as a whole is a rather predictable affair, and it's nothing you're going to remember anytime soon, but Disgaea games don't really shine in terms of story anyway, so it's at least to be expected at this point. It never takes itself too seriously, and when it does, it kinda gets genuinely heartwarming. As the story picks up in later episodes, it presents some suspense as to what could happen next. But it's nothing thought-provoking because in this story, obvious plot points are obvious. You'll be spending at least 30 to 40 hours with the story, depending on how long you spend leveling up your characters. It's a long affair, but I gotta say the characters do have enough of that charm, Disgaea charm at that, to keep you interested till the very end.
Eusalia, was it? Would you please tell us what happened? Eusalia? What? I'm sorry. I was thinking about how to combat the decreases in birth rates coupled with an aging population blip.
In my opinion, with all Disgaea games, the voice acting is top notch. NIS America is filled with talented voice actors and it shows in their games, if you give it a chance. No annoying or cringe-worthy voices at all. But no one here particularly stands out to me as godly amazing as Disco did in Disgaea 4. However, when I was doing some grinding, I did put the voices in Japanese. Yes, there is both Japanese and English voice acting that you can flip to on and off on the fly. And the Japanese voices are great, amazing at that. I enjoyed to see the cast shout out their attacks in Japanese, and I was almost tempted to go back and play the story mode with just the Japanese voice acting on. And the whole story mode is voice acted, so that's pretty awesome. As for the soundtrack, again something that is also top notch for Disgaea games, is excellent. To be honest, there aren't many tracks here, and they kinda do repeat more often than not, but they don't get too annoying. The music for the default hub world, Moving On, is almost majestic. I can't tell you how many times I had to stop what I was doing and just sit down and listen to the song. They also picked a great soundtrack for the item world, so it doesn't get too boring when you're moving from floor to floor to level up your equipment. The graphics from each Disgaea game has always been a sprite-based affair, and of course Disgaea 5 is no different, using and perfecting the HD sprites that was introduced in Disgaea 4. I can't tell you guys how much I love seeing sprites in my JRPGs, something I kind of feel is dying off nowadays. Outside of the sprites, things can get a little bit bland. Objects on the battlefield have always looked stale and PS2-esque, and this doesn't really change at all. It's kinda sad because this is the first Disgaea game on the PS4, and I wanted to see developers take advantage of the PS4 graphical power. But I gotta say, the attack animations kinda do make up for it. Now the game unfolds as a visual novel, so the artwork is kind of important, and the art is more crisp and pristine than in previous Disgaea titles. However, I like the sort of moving animation in the artwork that Disgaea 4 had, and it's subtly missing here. In my eyes, that's not lack of a power on the PS4's part, that's just the developers or the artists being lazy. The general gameplay of Disgaea has been the same through each incarnation, and that hasn't changed much in Disgaea 5, but it's added some mechanics and polished existing systems to make the experience more enjoyable. The hub map, Seraphina's Pocket Netherworld, is where you'll be spending most of your time outside of battles, where you can buy and sell equipment, increase your character skills, and buy new abilities. The item world will allow you to dive into an item to make the item grow stronger in stats. Diving into the item world for an hour or two, I would say is almost needed because the later maps can be a bit challenging. But the item world isn't all fun games and grinding. Enemies grow stronger as you dive deep inside to each floor, and random encounters can completely end up annihilating your characters if you're not powerful enough. Even at higher levels in the thousands, the item world can provide a hellish experience. But that's if you should choose to tackle it, and it's mostly at that point for the post-game. The character world in previous Disgaea games has been a lot like the item world, but now it's been redone into more of a board game, and I guess it's a nice way to have it distinguish itself from the item world. To be honest, I didn't really dive too deep into the character world, as I feel it wasn't needed for the story mode. You can use it to power up your characters and give them a host of new abilities and increase their stats immensely. And if you're going for post-game content, the character world, like the item world, is a necessity to play for many hours. Battle is where the Disgaea games shine, and you'll be unleashing many skills and attacks to fight your foes. Every time I play Disgaea, I'm always awestruck by the amount of insanity that ensues with some of the attacks, and that's just part of the magic of Disgaea. That's what makes Disgaea Disgaea almost. Like this attack, for example. And this one just threw me for a loop. I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, dude! No! Dude!
A new revenge meter that fills whenever your allies take damage or are killed. Going into revenge mode allows your character to have instant criticals on each hit and makes the cost of using skills 1. While in revenge mode, your main characters have access to a unique action called overloads. They're powerful skills that can completely change the tide of battle. Red Madness could become a giant, increasing his stats, allowing him to become an even bigger heavy hitter than what he already was. Seraphina can charm all male units and make them attack each other. As you progress through the story, you unlock even more powerful versions of these overloads, making them nearly essential for every battle. You can add characters to a squad to give them bonuses during battle or increase the amount of experience gained. You also have side quests you can do to unlock new character classes and gain more side missions. Sometimes when defeating an enemy, you can capture them, allowing you to interrogate them or increase the level of a squad. Interrogating the prisoner will allow you to either join your side or absorb their stats to make your characters more powerful. Customization is the name of the game for Disgaea. You have a lot of ways to go about playing the game and using whatever characters you want to use. Want to go in the item world and build up an overpowered character and breeze right through the story? Go right ahead. Want to build a balanced team of your own characters like I did and just have fun with it? You're welcome to do so. Want to grind for more than 100 hours, possibly more than that, to fight the super overlord Bao? Yeah, look at this menace. To even get into the fight, you have to extensively grind, and even that, it won't guarantee you success. He's a true beast. With all that in mind, I gotta say, with the 60 so hours I spent with Disgaea story mode, and about 20 more hours of doing some post game, I enjoyed every single second of it. I just love personally creating my own army of characters to go into the story mode, to go into the post game, and just have fun with it. That's what Disgaea has always been for me. Building my own characters, building my own army, and going my way with it. Anybody who's a fan of strategy RPGs, I think will enjoy the deep customization Disgaea has to offer. Newcomers can jump right in with the developers making things more accessible and easier to manage your characters, and just manage everything. Now I won't lie, when I played the demo I mentioned that this is the same Disgaea game we've pretty much seen in the last 5 titles. But even with all its familiar territory, Disgaea still manages to come off as a fresh experience. I would love to see developers change the dynamic of the game, but I feel if they do that, it wouldn't be Disgaea anymore. And to be honest, I don't want that, so I might just be satisfied with them going with the same thing with each Disgaea game, with some new characters, a new story, and some new environments without changing it up too much. Not many games can pull this off, and Disgaea again has that certain charm that keeps me coming back with each latest entry. Now with all that in mind, honestly, after I beat the main story, I still want to come back and do even more stuff. Even though I know I'm probably not going to be able to defeat Bao, I'm going to try until I get bored with it. But I can't remember the last game that had me coming back to do more stuff after the main story was completed. I have probably no choice but to give Disgaea 5 a 9 out of 10. It's one addicting game, and even when I was capturing video for this review, I would end up playing the game for 2 hours or so instead of actually capturing the video footage that I needed. In turn, it delayed this review for quite a bit. So those are my thoughts on Disgaea 5. Speak your mind in the comments below of what you think of Disgaea 5. If you played it, and are you going to do some of the post-game content? Are you trying to defeat Bao? Have you got your stats up to the billions yet? Let me know, I'm honestly really curious. So like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter if you feel like it, and I will see you guys next time.